It seems like a lot of you enjoyed the Invincible Sinister Six video, so of course I had to follow it up with Omni-Man. I only gave him 3 potential teams, unlike someone like Mark who had room for 4. I actually found it a little difficult balancing his teams and finding a suitable amount of characters that Omni-Man would be able to fight. Since you're in a situation where Omni-Man is supposed to be one of the most powerful characters in the Invincible world, but then at the same time, if you throw way too many characters at one character in the Invincible world, they might be good enough to take on one, but are they good enough to take on 4, 5, or 6 at a time? I also wanted to refrain from using anyone from the Guardians of the Globe, at least the members he has already killed. I tried giving you teams based more so on the story of it all, rather than the potential power output and or power scaling. So regardless, I hope you all enjoy. Starting with Team 1, which I honestly think is probably going to be the most overpowered team. Very likely a chance in which Omni-Man might not actually win this one. You got Conquest, Lucan or Lucen, Thula, Anissa, Ursal, and General Craig. I wanted to take some of the very notable characters of Viltrumites that are feared universe-wide. This would be in a scenario where Omni-Man has failed his duty on Earth, and he's also betrayed his people. I want to also take this later on in the storyline of the Invincible universe, as Omni-Man does become a character who is arguably the second strongest Viltrumite of all of them, just behind Thrag. Even then, I'm not saying Omni-Man is going to dispose of this team rather simply, but at least at that point, you could make a case that if he was intelligent enough in the fight, he would be able to come out of it alive. Thula, Anissa, and Lucen are 3 characters he could handle fairly well on his own. General Craig, however, who is said to be one of the most talented and powerful Viltrumites in the remaining empire, he's also second in command to Thrag. So I imagine this being a situation in which Thrag has sent him to assemble a Sinister Six of the top Viltrumites available to go after Omni-Man and dispose of him, sending along with him his daughter Ursal to be able to catch onto the ropes of what it means to be a Viltrumite and what they do to their enemies and people who betray them from their own empire. Then you have another problem with Conquest. I mean, he's a guy who won't necessarily follow within the law of what Craig is telling the rest of the team to do. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, just see the way he fought and acted with Invincible. Once again, this is Omni-Man, different sets of talents, different mindset in general. Conquest is a spectator. As powerful as he is, as strong as he is, as skilled as he is in hand-to-hand combat, he gets in his own way from seeing everything from the third person. He gets arrogant and he gets cocky during battle. That is something Omni-Man would easily be able to exploit. But if there's something to remember about a Viltrumite, if we need to remember this, and if there's something to know about this team, they're showing absolutely no mercy. They don't show mercy to their enemies, and they're certainly not going to show mercy to someone like Nolan who has failed his purpose. Then again, they also have to be on their guard though, because he is called the Great Nolan. So they know in this situation, no matter how cocky Conquest wants to be, how sure of himself Craig wants to be, or how many Viltrumites this team has going up against Omni-Man, they do understand that he's no ordinary Viltrumite. So as I always do, I give you that one character or situation which could make this Sinister Six crumble. It doesn't mean it has to happen, it's just me giving an option for it to happen. I think that belongs to either Conquest or Ursal. From Conquest's point of view, the fact that he he is nearly feared by his own fellow species and that he's seen as an animal who only likes war. I think if you got under his skin enough, or if General Craig couldn't necessarily keep control of him and make him work within a team, you could have a situation where he wouldn't just side with Omni-Man, but he would now be fighting everyone alongside Omni-Man as well. It would just almost become a free-for-all battle. But you could also go to the Ursal side of things, where in the comic books, spoiler alert once again for people who haven't read them, okay, she does eventually have a redemption arc. Maybe there is something there where this changed man who Nolan has become could see doubts within this girl and maybe pull her away from this very evil and vile Viltrumite mindset. Now, let's just hypothetically say if Omni-Man was having a hard time with these 6 characters already, turning Ursal against them wouldn't necessarily make this easier for Omni-Man. However, it could potentially make their escape from the team a little easier than it would have been before with just Omni-Man on his own. Or maybe he could exploit Conquest's feeble mentality and also pull Ursal from the side of the Viltrumites, and while they get distracted by Conquest, they could flee. I think there's a lot of ways this story could go down, and many ways in which Omni-Man might even lose this, but regardless, thought it would be cool to make a whole Viltrumite team. Okay, team 2 is Invincible, Oliver, the Immortal, Adam Eve, Alan the Alien, and Robot. This is also taking place later on in the storyline, where Omni-Man is one of the most strongest beings in the universe, but it is also in a world in which Omni-Man did not change. He preferred to stay on the side of the Viltrumite Empire, and this is his time returning to Earth to finally conquer the planet once and for all. It does not matter to him that he has 2 children on this team. I also believe this team is Cecil's last line of defense. I think he relies so much on people like Invincible, the Immortal, Adam Eve, Robot. He would be thinking, this is who I need if a Viltrumite comes to the planet and tries to take us over. The story we have for Nolan in the main Invincible universe is a man who fails in his duty to Viltrumite because of the love and the care that he has for his son, in which the years that pass on, he's doing everything he can to rectify what happened and to make up for his brutal mistakes. He turns a completely new leaf for the better. In this team, we would be dealing with a Nolan who, after his first bout with Invincible, comes back and says, I'm here to actually finish the job this time. The love that triumphed, which got Nolan to disregard his love for his Viltrumite empire, does not succeed here. What is beating that Nolan? This team would have to be at their absolute best, and even that I wouldn't know if it would be enough. If even one person survived on the team, the rest of them died, and half of the Earth was destroyed, you would still need to count it as a victory, because at the end of the day, you do stop Omni-Man. That's the situation I think they would be in with an all-evil Nolan. So going into the idea of a person that would betray this team would obviously be helping the villain side, and I think something like that would be possible. It depends on the Invincible you're dealing with. More often than not, in the multiverse of the Invincible world, 9 times out of 10, Invincible tends to go evil. So if there was a way that Omni-Man could finally speak to his son throughout all the battles and convince him to join his side to uphold Viltrumite law and rule over the universe, yeah, I think Invincible is finally going to take his father's offer. And I don't think it would be too crazy if they managed to bring Oliver to their side as well. So now you would have 2, potentially 3 Viltrumites destroying Earth, leaving this Sinister Six team dismantled to a fearful 4. And the only fear that's being felt is from them. So yeah, it's over. And then last for this video, but not least, Team 3 is Angstrom Levy, Powerplex, Battle Beast, Dinosaurus, Sinister Mark, and Space Racer. This is another team led by Angstrom Levy, just as Invincible had one, in which he believes to finally defeat Invincible, they must cut off from the source being Omni-Man. Everything that has happened to have caused grief and pain in Angstrom Levy's life, and maybe even another character here like Powerplex, because of Omni-Man, Invincible was formed. We gotta cut the head off the snake, essentially. Here, Angstrom Levy would be rounding up a bunch of characters that maybe don't suit each other very well in mentality and personalities. More so what it is it's just very powerful beings that could come together and just overwhelm Nolan in any way possible. You would be dealing with an Omni-Man who is no longer a villain. This is an Omni-Man, your canon Omni-Man, who eventually changes his ways. Space Racer is dangerous because of the weapon he wields. He might not be able to go fist for fist with Omni-Man, but Levy does understand the power he holds in that gun, and it could become useful. Battle Beast is Battle Beast. Give him a Viltrumite to fight, and he's gonna want to fight them. What gets interesting here is Sinister Mark, and really, it can be any evil Mark that you want. I just like Sinister Mark the most, but you now have a situation in which Omni-Man is fighting a version of his son, in which it's a version he would have never wanted his son to become. Now he has to deal with the fact that in other worlds, he failed as a father, and his son became arguably worse than he ever was. And he's extremely powerful as well, so that doesn't help. I think this team would have so much pent-up emotion and so much pent-up anger. There's a really good chance it could crumble on itself, considering a lot of these characters that if they were capable of finally getting Omni-Man down, if they were the one to be able to deal the knockout blow, each one of them would have their own ways on how they want to dispose of Omni-Man, and because one can't have it over the other, there would just be an infighting within the group. Once again, I think this would be a team made up in Angstrom Levy's image that really has no thought on the mentality of everyone, since a lot of characters here are a little unstable and only see red. It would work for a time at the beginning, but over more time, it would just start to decay. And I think that right there would be your answer on how this team would fall apart. Eventually, Battle Beast wouldn't want to fight Omni-Man anymore. He would want to fight Sinister Mark. Angstrom Levy seems like the type of guy who's absolutely fantastic at planning out 99% of a plan, and then finally that 1% backfires in his face and everything fails, and that's what would happen here. For as big as that guy's brain is, he can never seem to get it done. And for someone like Powerplex, who is so damn powerful, all of the shouting and screaming and commotion he causes himself, he would probably find himself in a situation where he gets some sort of knockout blow by Omni-Man. So there goes that plan of using him. This team would just crumble on itself. But there it is, 3 Sinister Six teams for Omni-Man. Like I said, I know some of these might not be balanced the best, some might be a little overpowered. However, I gotta make do with the characters you have in the Invincible universe, because even to a lot of the characters that this world deals with are primarily Invincible villains or Earth-wide, universe-wide villains. These characters don't really have too many solo villains to themselves the way DC or Marvel characters would have. That's why moving forward with other Invincible characters, I don't really know how many more Sinister Sixes I would be able to do with them. I might be able to get away with someone like Adam Eve, but you guys let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see that, and let me know who would be in your Sinister Six for Omni-Man. But that's all I have for you on this one, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until the next time, I will talk to you all very soon.